I, like everyone else, am getting ready for Halloween, and I decided that one of the best ways to do this is to play one of the darkest, most disturbing, and yet sad horror games I've ever played. And thanks to Blowfish Games, I've had that opportunity to play Vlad Circus Descent into Madness. Now, this game is a puzzle-heavy action horror game, with you playing as the protagonist, Ollie. Now, Ollie has went through a traumatic event where he doesn't know if he's hallucinating half of the disturbing things he's seeing. Most of these things even come after him and hurt him. But once he takes his medicine, these hallucinations disappear. But what happens when he takes his medicine and they don't disappear? Anyway, I'm Nima. Let's talk about Vlad Circus Descent into Madness. But before we get into that, I do have to ask you guys to please hit that like and subscribe button. It means the world to me and it really helps out the channel. We are on our way to 1,100 subscribers, so let's keep going. So like I said, I've been playing this game all weekend and I've really been enjoying it. The puzzle solving gets to be addictive, yet I have to say that my favorite part has been the story, the dialogue, a lot of the banter, even your ability to connect with Ollie. And it's not an easy connection to make, as yeah, this poor guy has went through just a lot. And I think that that's part of the reason why I really appreciate the story and the writing in the game, because it wasn't just something surface level and trying to just creep you out for the sake of creeping you out. No, there's a lot of depth and complexity, not only to Ollie, but to all the characters in the game. And again, I truly appreciate that. But the story of this game goes that there is a circus, the Vlad Circus, and there was a horrible fire that ended up claiming many lives, burning down their whole infrastructure, causing irreparable mental damage, as well as taking their livelihood away. And as we play the game, we find out that many of them didn't really have a great path to a stable lifestyle. So this caused even more problems, and the police determined that this fire was actually set by Vlad's brother. And since this is the 1920s, the court moved a little bit quicker, and he was sentenced to death by the electric chair within a year. And it seemed that this book had closed on this very sad story of Vlad Circus. But 8 years after the event, Ollie and his former companions receive a letter from Vlad himself saying that he wants them to come to his house, take a picture for the circus, and really get things back going again. Most of them were incredibly excited to have this opportunity because their lives have not been great since the fire. And as we play as Vlad, he has spent a lot of that time in an insane asylum where he was treated for having these very vivid hallucinations. And it's nowhere said in the game, but it's just my thoughts on it, that he has really bad anxiety that tends to flare up and causes these hallucinations as a way to break himself from reality, or from what he perceives as reality. And the reason I say that is because there is a stress level. See, whenever Ollie is overstressed and these become overwhelming, the hallucinations get worse to the point of what I'm considering a cardiac event or something that outright kills him. And that is our health bar, by the way, is the stress level. And so every time Ollie is hurt or something happens to him, we have to watch that stress level. Now, there's many ways that we can actually bring that down. One of the things that Ollie has always found comfort in is religion. He is a very devout man, following the advice of his late mother, who would always tell him to pray away the evil, essentially. He was always protected with God. In fact, her rosary is one of the things that Ollie always keeps with him. And while you're playing as Ollie, if you do have yourself overstressed or you get in a position where you feel like Ollie is about to lose it, you can always sit down and use that item to pray, and it'll bring the stress level back down. Although returning back to Vlad's house, back to his former companions, putting on his old clown costume, all of this has brought on even more anxiety and more stress. Luckily though, his psychologist from the asylum is actually there with him, which is a good thing for Ollie, as he leaves a bag with a ton of these tonics that help with the hallucinations. And luckily for us, they are widely available, as they're just left in the doctor's bag in the front room by the fireplace. These things definitely help. They immediately make the stress level drop down, and it happens quickly, so if you're being attacked by a hallucination, you're able to make that disappear much quicker. Now, these tonics are also available and useful for other aspects of the game, because you see, these hallucinations, for the most part, can be fought off with. You can find things like knives, guns, shotgun, and you can actually just kill the hallucinations, but there are certain times when a hallucination will not disappear, or it's just too big to actually fight. Think of like a circus wagon on fire with corpses hanging out of it. You have to use something to get it out of the way so Ollie can keep going, but it causes him too much stress to be near it, and it doesn't go away anyway. So you have to take the tonic, and there's a few times like that where these tonics become very valuable for that, and is almost like a key of sorts. Because as the game goes on, you do find out that, yeah, having the tonics is nice, but you can't really rely on them. There's just too many hallucinations going on that you would be constantly drinking these tonics and have no room for your inventory. And that becomes a big part of this game because you're constantly carrying a lot of different items because you don't know which ones you might use. The puzzle solving in this game is above and beyond. They don't give you many clues, and you have to piece together a lot of stuff. Now, that can be very frustrating, mind you, but when you actually figure it out, it's incredibly rewarding. And I do think that it becomes really addictive because there will be times when you feel like there's just no other option. All your doors are closed, and then you figure out one small thing, and suddenly a whole plethora of options are open, and there's a ton of different things that you get to explore. Now, one of the things I found most rewarding about this is the fact that you do feel this sense of accomplishment when you're able to piece together a lot of these little puzzles, but that's not the only thing. The other aspect is just finding out more about the story. As you go further, you find more about your companions who also have very dark pasts, very disturbing situations in their life, but also Ollie's himself. All of this really culminates into an excellent, yet albeit disturbing story. And most of the times, if you're thinking about the game, as you go further into the game, you start questioning things. You almost feel like, maybe I'm going insane. Maybe this is what's happening. Because, as you're playing a game, you try to guess what's going to happen, who's really behind this stuff, are the hallucinations real? Because as you play the game, you also discover that there's more story behind just the circus. In fact, with Ollie himself, he was abused as a child, enough that would make a normal person have incredibly bad PTSD, if not other issues as well. Things like his father, as a punishment, would lock him in a cellar full of rats, or burn him with cigarettes, so on and so forth. This would make sense for a lot of the problems that he has, let alone the other issues that he has. And we find out more and more. It just becomes very sad, a very sad tale of a poor broken man. But he's not the only one who's broken. Most of his companions have a very dark story to tell, whether it be a sudden illness or abuse, addiction, all sorts of stuff that didn't even have to do with the fire itself. And in the light of all of that, they want to bring some hope back into their life. They want to be part of the circus again, if there really is a circus. And maybe there is, maybe there's not. Maybe they're being sent there for revenge. We don't know. And that's what is so fun about this game, is you don't know anything, but you can respect how great the storytelling is. And you're excited to keep playing so you find out more and more. But not only does this game have just impeccable writing, a great dialogue, I would say decent graphics. It's not the best. The pixel art's a little fuzzy, not as detailed as I would like, but at the same time, that actually really plays into some of the hallucinations, because some of them are so disturbing that you're not exactly sure what you're seeing. You know it's bad, you know it's wrong, but is that exactly what you're seeing? You're not sure. And that's, again, I think that plays into it. But aside from having just incredibly great writing, this game has amazing sound effects. It's one of those games that is best played with your headphones on, in the dark. You will hear so many things through your headphones. It's almost like 3D audio, if you will. I know that's a real thing, but I just mean it's incredibly interactive that way. And even with just the sound up on your Switch, it still works pretty well, but the headphones, man, that just kicks it up another notch, and it takes the game from being disturbing to creepy and scary. So, understand what you're getting in. If you don't like just really scary games or creepiness, but you want to play the game because you're interested, well, just play it without the headphones. But if you want like a real experience, go headphones in the dark. It's creepy. I really enjoyed my time with Vlad Circus. I wasn't sure how I was going to like it, and I'm really glad that I got this opportunity thanks to Blowfish. And this is definitely a game that I would highly recommend. If I was going to give it a number score, it is a solid 9 out of 10. They've done an amazing job with this game. It is fantastic. I would, like I said, recommend pretty much anyone to check it out. Even if you're not really into the horror gore aspect of it, unless you have some triggers that might be set by some of the stuff that's in the game, I think that most people should check it out. Anyway, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I love y'all. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.